Hey guys, it is me, Tanya, founder of the TNG Designs Group Limited. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Now in this video, we're going to be talking about how much does a website cost? Now, simply because, people need to know, right? So I want to tackle two things in particular to be able to determine what that is. And I will be sharing with you what that is literally within this video, so please make sure you go ahead and actually watch this video. More specifically, please make sure that you take into account all of what I share with you, because it'll be the difference between you understanding whether or not you can do certain things to be able to take yourself to that next level versus whether or not you can't do these certain things. So key things to be able to be mindful of for sure. Now, before you get stuck into this video, as always, I'd love for you to go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel, because guess what, folks? The views are going up and it's absolutely brilliant seeing that. Now, here's what I want you to do even more specifically. As much as that's happening, I'd love for you to just go that one step further and actually start subscribing to this channel as well, because I share information just like this, but even more specifically, I share information around the idea of branding. Now, branding is underestimated by so many people, but branding impacts so many people without them even knowing it. And it's my duty, it's my position in life to be able to make sure that with that idea of knowing what an actual brand can actually do for a person, more specifically for their business, more specifically to them as a general entity, when they know what it can actually do for them, the game-changing things and implementation that can actually happen is super cool. And the transition, the transformation, if you like, even more importantly, is immense, especially when you finally get it. So folks, please make sure you stick around to the very end of this video, because I also start sharing with you as well how you can implement certain principles to be able to make sure that you take your brand to that next level. Because at the end of the day, folks, we're not here to be stagnant, we're here to be seen. People need to see who you are, because guess what? You're an example of a way forward, and more specifically, people need to see and understand, if they've done it, I can also do it. We're here to create this ripple effect, folks. So this is how you make sure you do it in a way that's actually congruent to you, your beliefs, and what you actually stand for. So without further ado, let's get stuck into it. So as I said, we're going to be talking about how much does a website cost. Nice and easy, simple, straightforward, to the point. I'm going to be sharing some key things, two things in particular, that you need to be made aware of, right? Especially when it comes to how much does it cost to actually build a website. The key things that you need to make sure are two different types of investments. There's a monetary investment, and there's also the time investment. Now, when the monetary investment is great, well then the time, more specifically your time, is less. Meaning that you have less time to worry about it, you have less time to think about it, and you have less time or even more time to be able to just go and do that next thing that's on your to-do list. Because when the investment is higher, it typically means that you're tapping into the expertise of a specialist in that specific field. That specialist will be able to home in on the key points that will be able to make sure that you are hitting when it comes to your SEO, when it comes to making sure that you're using backlinks or even targeted keywords, to be able to make sure that you remain searchable throughout the whole process, throughout the whole journey, or even the longevity of your business. A specialist will always consider these key things. Now, usually when it's on the flip side, so when your time spent on doing these elements are even more and you're doing less of an investment, well then that usually means that you're putting in more time spending in an area that you don't necessarily need to be spending on. However, if you're the type of person who's super inquisitive and really wants to know and understand the build of a website, have at it. Please go ahead and do so. There are many website builders out there to be able to take you that one next step further. But just bear in mind that yes, that's actually going to be taking up more of your time. Time that could be spent doing other things within your business. Time that could actually use your own expertise in other areas of your business. So just bear that in mind. The more time that you're spending on creating your own website or creating what that area of expertise is with regards to what that website build should be and even look like, is the less money that you'll probably be spending. However, flip it around. If you're spending more money, that means that usually and typically you're going to be investing in something from up to 1,000 or even 2,000 plus, to be able to make sure that you're getting the entirety of the functioning of your website that needs to happen. So folks, the point of this particular video is understand where you are at, whether it be in business, whether it be in your journey, whatever you want to phrase it as, wherever you are in your brand building awareness journey. Understand where you are at, and understand and be realistic to the idea of what can you do right here, right now, to be able to make sure that you go that one step further. Please also know that don't ever get scared away by a high price, by a high investment, because here's why. Those high investments can actually be made affordable. You just have to ask the right questions. And if you need help with that, please make sure that you go ahead and DM me, and I'll make sure I'll respond to you. Ask the right questions in order to be able to understand how you can make that investment happen. Because there is always a way to make it happen. Especially if you're an entrepreneur, especially if you're trying to build the awareness of your brand, you've come this far for a reason. So you know that, yes, if you want to do something, you will make it happen, right? When it comes to the time that you're putting in as well, I do always actually say, understand what you're actually doing and understand what your investment is to a certain level, but don't ever feel that you've got to know the entirety of a subject that you actually don't have the expertise in. There's nothing wrong with just saying that, do you know what, I'm going to pass it on to somebody else. There's nothing wrong with saying, do you know what, they know it better than I do, so let me make sure that I am actually being presented in the best possible kind of a way to make sure that I build on that awareness of who I am, more specifically targeting all the key elements that I need to make sure I'm targeting, and equally milestones that I'm hitting within the build of this website. So there we have it, folks. That is it. And essentially, when it comes to the build or understanding what does it cost to create a website specifically for your brand, you got to just think about those two main investments. More money equals less time spent on it, meaning your time spent on it. Meaning that you have the more time to be able to spend on the things and the areas that you actually want to be doing, right? It's that versus this, which is more time, less money. I had to think about that one because I almost confused myself, right? But more time, less money. More time and less money means that your hands are literally essentially tied up in doing something that you don't necessarily have the full expertise on. Leave it to the expert to be able to get on and do. And if you're feeling like you're in the position that, you know what, Tan, I don't have that investment to be able to reach out to a specialist to be able to do so, you'll be surprised. Once again, folks, don't ever limit yourself. Please understand that. You'll be surprised at just how much you can actually do with an expert. So folks, I'm going to leave it there. And on the note of making sure that you are building an investment or building in and putting in the time that you need to be able to take yourself to that next level, prepare yourself. And you can prepare yourself by understanding what your key principles are to be able to build your brand to that level in the first place. Now, I've already put out a video with regards to how to make sure that you actually brand your website, right? With that video, and more specifically with what I'm about to share with you right now, use these to be able to build on your principles for your brand. These 6 key principles, more specifically when it comes to building the awareness of what your brand is about, make sure you go ahead and tap into them. But you can do so by literally clicking on the link that's below this video. Now, when you click on that link, go ahead and fill in your details, and then go ahead that one step further and actually get your guide that actually shares with you what those key principles are. Now, essentially, they're a checklist to be able to make sure that you can cross off or even tick off to make sure that you've actually applied it to your own brand at the moment. Because, folks, we're forever changing, we're forever evolving. These principles make sure that you're actually still hitting those key points as you are doing so. And more specifically, when you're building assets like your website, like your brochures, like your roller balloons, anything to promote yourself, these key principles will be able to make sure that you are staying on point all the time. Because it's super important to be able to pull things together that actually attract somebody who you actually want to work with, rather than if you're attracting the whole world. You don't need to attract the whole world. And you know, as the saying goes, if you're attracting everybody, you're attracting nobody. So think about that, folks. And and I'm going to leave it there. I really hope that this video resonated with you, and once again, please make sure you go and hit a like and subscribe to this channel, and I will see you on the other